Forward TV. The world is thinking.
With his wildly controversial collection for Spring-Summer 1971, Saint Laurent paid literal homage to his mother's look in the late 30s and 40s, as well as tapping into the retro spirit that was then holding sway among London's hip and influential designers and Saint Laurent's friends and colleagues, including Paloma Picasso, Lulu de la Falaise, and Marisa Berenson. The collection was a brilliant evocation of the glamour and devil-may-care frivolity of the Oran he remembered from his childhood, when the safari jackets of the Allied uniform provided a counterpoint to the coquetry of the colonial ladies, including Lucienne Saint Laurent, whom he remembered in her red suit and heels and her hair waved à la Rita Hayworth. People tried to have some glamour in their lives, Saint Laurent had observed of these wartime beauties, because they were so close to death. Saint Laurent constantly returned to this image here in the spring of 1986, 2002. That 40s collection of 1971 really signaled the death knell for 60s futurism and heralded instead a decade of romantic nostalgia that would see Saint Laurent evoke by turns the Russia of the Tsars, the glory years of Hollywood, the heroines of Proust, and the Spain of Carmen. At the time, however, it was widely considered by the press to be the greatest misstep of his career. The San Francisco Chronicle headlined their collections report, "Yves' Trollops of the 40s." Only Bernardine Morris of the New York Times defended it as the youngest, liveliest, and most ebullient of his career. Morris was perceptive. The broad-shouldered look that Saint Laurent initiated with that collection would become his, ergo, the dominant daytime silhouette for the next 20 years. In many ways, it was the anti-Dior look, the look, in fact, that Dior himself had banished in one fell swoop with his Carole collection. Saint Laurent challenged the Dior paradigm with the figure type exemplified by his great friend and muse, Betty Catrou, seen here on the left, with Lulu de la Falaise on the right in 1969. Tall, flat-chested, broad-shouldered, slender-legged, the alluring androgyne, where Dior's ideal had been giddily feminine, with a rounded bosom, broad hips, and, of course, the all-important hourglass waist. Where Dior's clothes had been built from the waist out, his evening clothes often made in two parts, separate bodice and skirt, the better to focus on the waist. The first thing that Saint Laurent's tailor, Jean-Louis Debord, preeminent among them, and fitters looked for in a new client was a strong, natural shoulder line. And if they weren't possessed of one, they set about creating it for them, just as waspies and boned bodices had formed or exaggerated the nipped-in waists of Dior's mannequins and clients. Saint Laurent admitted that in creating this type, the daring modern woman who would wear his transparent blouse of 1968 under her man-tailored smoking, he finally found his true design voice. The greatest change for me came when I discovered my own style without being influenced by others, he said. And that came with the dinner suit and the transparent blouse. That is when I began a dialogue with women and began to understand better what a modern woman is.